Everyone talks about, hey, use the bank's money. You need to only have $30,000, $50,000. You can raise money with JV partners. What is your view of the world? How does the financing works when it comes to the renovation world? My rule of thumb always is that you never hand your money to someone who has less money than you. For people, if they don't have the runs on the boards and if they haven't done the hard yard, hey, I'm not going to do any work and I'm not going to put in any effort. I personally feel that you don't have enough skin in the game. When you have money partners available and you have tax office on one side, tapping into your profits and the GST complications, how do you go around structuring some of these things? I heard one of the developers saying that the biggest regret in life was to not hold enough properties. No one wants to become a millionaire slowly. Hello and welcome to another episode of Help Me Buy Property podcast. Today's podcast is all about renovations. If you are a renovator who is looking for a renovating property or renovation project, then this episode is for you. Belinda Smith here from Renovate and Real Estate, a decade worth of experience. I should say a gazillion renovations that she has done here and overseas, a wealth of information and knowledge. This is a storytelling session. This is us telling a story of a renovator right from the get-go. So stick to it till the very end. We would have multiple episodes coming out of this podcast. So stick around and stay around and let's jump right into this. Give a big hand and some drum rolls for Belinda. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Can I do my own drum roll?
Yes, please go for it.
Woohoo!
This is amazing. Now, for viewers and listeners, before we open the topic, talk to us a bit about yourself. Who is Belinda?
Belinda Smith is a lady who grew up in Caringbah South, which is a suburb of the Sutherland Shire in Sydney. Middle class environment, loving parents, no drama. Those people that say that they were broke and they had to sleep on their sister's couch. That's never me. I just had a nice childhood. I met my husband when I was really young. I knew him through school. We were really childhood sweethearts. We started dating straight after school.
Amazing.
And my renovation journey really began with him right from the get-go. We did our first renovation at the age, I was 19, he was 20. He'd just bought a unit at Cronulla. And when I say unit at Cronulla, it smelt so bad, like baby's vomit, if I had to tell you the main smell, but there were many.
Yeah.
It was pretty awful. But I knew through watching my parents do a renovation in the 70s, I knew that by painting something and scrubbing it, cleaning, getting new carpet and doing the basics, you could really turn something ugly into something great. I recognized right from that first renovation that we were earning more money for the effort we were putting into property than we were in our day jobs. And just to frame that, my husband was a mechanic by trade and back in the day earned something like $50 a week. And I was in the police force, brand new into the police force as a junior trainee back then. Was sworn in as the general duties officer when I was 19. So
Wow.
that was our background. We just started renovating as soon as we met each other, and it's just been part of our lives ever since. We've now been married for, can't even tell you, 30-something years. So 36 years.
Still happily married. That's the ultimate aim of the game. So that's amazing.
You can stay married and be happy whilst renovating. That is
I know,
true.
right? Yeah, they say it's a myth, right? You can do either a successful renovation project or be married. You can't have both at the same time. So
You
kudos to you.
can have both. Many of my students do. It's all about not saying the first thing that comes to mind.
That's so true. That's so true. I think I remember we did our first renovation, me and my missus, and it wasn't intentional. I was in property, and so I picked my first renovation, which ended up becoming my family home, actually. And I remember walking through the house, and my wife is like, "Oh my God, what the hell is wrong with you? Why would you buy something such and such a dump?" I was like, "Oh, I'm just doing this for a flip. You don't have to worry about it." And then as I started doing the project, I had 4 weeks of trades coming in and out. She started loving it. And so she started picking colors and, we should design this way and we should design the kitchen that way. And she got really involved to the point that I think we were painting the exterior of the house and she picked the color. And the first time renovators, right? You see the color on the palette and it's very different to the color when it comes out on the house. Like that was my experience. And we picked up, I think, something in a tone of brown and it came out as purple. And we had a purple house on the street for God knows like 2 or 3 years because we couldn't afford anything else. And then 2 years down the track, my wife was like, nah, stuff this. You need to change this color. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of those memories, right? I think, doing it together is all about building memories as well. I truly believe that, it brings you closer as well. Especially if, you have that love for property and love for creation there.
It's been a big part of our relationship, and it's what the kids have grown up seeing us doing as well, seeing us renovate or seeing me fix up an old piece of furniture, seeing us both go down to Bunnings and buy the items and come back and do a room at a time, whatever we were working on at the moment, whether it be our own PPR or an investment property. It's been a big part of our life together. And in fact, we're a bit lost when we're not working on something like that together. And we just get straight into our groove.
Yeah,
We know
that's
who's doing what.
a life of a renovator. Naturally people start off backwards. They buy the property first and then they go backwards trying to figure out how to make money, right? So I'm going to take you right to the back and we are going to start off with the financing question. So everyone talks about, hey, use the bank's money. You need to only have $30,000, $50,000. You can raise money with JV partners. There's a lot of courses out there who are basically trying to teach renovation. What is your view of the world? How does the financing works when it comes to the renovation world?
Oh, I think the most important thing is to use OPM, other people's money, no matter where that money is sourced, whether it be from a bank, whether it be via a mortgage broker with some kind of portable loan or whatever you can get, whether it be through a money partner. I think it's all fair game. If we were waiting to save with our after-tax dollars to go and invest in property, most of us would never, ever get started. So it's just using other people's money. The growth in property right now, I'm excited, you're excited at the timing in this market at the moment. But and to miss opportunity like that because you haven't saved for it is just so sad. So other people's money. I think it's really easy. Everyone's first port of call is to go to a bank. I would prefer to go to a broker first because I think that they can look at the type of loan that you want with, I'll say, with eyes that are across commissions. Banks, if you walk into a bank and say, I'm going to flip a property, you're not going to be the bank's favorite client. All they can see is commission clawback. All they can see is a short-term loan. All they can see is the amount of work there is in setting up a loan for you to come and go and come and go. So I think a really good broker who understands your long game is someone to connect with. We've got brokers inside our group, obviously, that know exactly what my students want, require, that have access to about 130 different lending institutions, and there are many types of ways to get money. So first, just for the interest rates, yeah, sure, banks offer the lower interest rates, and so if somebody can get you in front of one of the big four, that's fine. But beyond that, it's okay if you're flipping a property in particular to pay a higher interest rate for the privilege of having that money for the short amount of time that you need it, because in the end, that extra interest expense is not going to be a big deal compared to the money that you can actually access or make through the opportunity.
And is it a mixture of debt plus equity, or is it a mixture of debt plus savings, or how do you bring in joint venture partners when you don't have, runs on the boards?
Great question. I think if you're renovating for yourself, then the most important thing is to be building everything. And I know we talk a lot about property, but I think income is really important. So if you can get that real base of increasing your income and really looking after your own family budget so that you're showing that you're fiscally aware and responsible, then it makes you look more appealing to any lender, or it gives you more credibility to anybody who's going to enter your world as a money partner. So that's number one, is look after finances like they really matter. Treat renovating like a business, I always say.
Yeah.
And number two, access the funds. And people are going to look at, what you spend your money on and what the deal is like, whether there's, especially if they're private funders, it's all about the deal and your ability to go through with the deal and be able to renovate on time and on budget.
Yeah.
Yeah. But honestly, there's the renovator, there's the home or the property, and there's the money. It comes from somewhere, and it can be a real big blend of whatever works for people.
Sure. And is there a minimum sort of benchmark as to excess amount of money that you would need in a deal at any given point in time? Because of course you would have the debt attached to it, but then you have to pay the deposit. You might have to introduce, money partner for doing the actual renovations because banks might not lend you that money. So is there like a rule of thumb as to excess amount of money?
Look, I've seen people start with $0 down and build relationships with somebody else, even in my community, that has the money. I've seen people into my community and say, well, there's a bit to this renovating I didn't really expect, but I have 500,000 who wants to use it on a project and I will learn alongside you doing the project. There's all sorts of a blend. So you can start with zero money down, Moxin, but it's much easier if you've got some coin. Everything in life is easier when you've got coin. So if you come into a renovation, you've got 800,000 in your pocket, off you go. The world's your oyster. And I truly think I see in Facebook groups where someone says, I need money, and someone says, take mine.
Yeah.
I think that's so frivolous. We are talking about a business relationship here. And in business, there has to be someone looking after the finances. There has to be the deal, and the deal has to stack up. And everybody involved as the business participants must be able to produce what they promise they can produce. So I agree with you. To give your money to someone who's never renovated before, who's got their fingers crossed, hoping that everything works out, would be silly. But to give your money to someone who might have worked in interior design for 10 years, or someone who's been an architect, that they might not have flipped homes, but they've got a really good understanding of the trade, or someone who's done many homes, but they're recently divorced, that's why they're broke or cash poor. Any of those, there are people who have a lot of transferable skills that work really
Great.
well as renovators, even when they have very little renovation experience. So
Great.
it's all about the character of the person. It's getting to know them. You're in business with them if there's any kind of money exchange or joint venture exchange. So I think you need to have lots of cups of coffee, lots of meetings on Zoom or meetings in person if you're local to each other. There had to be a real trust, and that's when things go really well. And there's been one circumstance where one of the joint ventures inside my group hasn't gone well, and it's been precisely what you said. A person said that they would turn up every weekend and engage in the renovation, and they chose to do other things quite often. Like they just weren't as available as they thought they were going to be, or as they might have intended when, the excitement of this deal was coming to fruition. And therefore it
Yeah.
cost more because we had to engage tradies. It costs more to get the work done. So it really pulled back on the profit margin.
Yeah.
So, it's all about people, trust, people doing what they say, coming through. And it's for a few short weeks. I'm like, come on, guys, suck it up. It's for a few weeks. Let's go.
And the other thing that I've also noticed and realized, and again, this is just purely from experience perspective, is people who are experienced and know their worth, they'll always offer lower, profits because they know that they can deliver it, right? Versus
Yeah.
people who are overzealous and ambitious, you'll see, some silly returns, available, and you'll be like, okay, I've been in this business for 40 years and 30 years, and I've never given, 35 to 40% return. So, what's cooking behind the scene, right?
Yeah, what's the catch?
But
Yeah.
what's to be true, is it really true, right? So, and I think it's a good segue into structures. So how do you go around structuring these projects? When you have money partners available and you have tax office on one side, tapping into your profits and the GST complications. How do you like go around structuring some of these things?
Just ignoring the tax component for a moment. Structuring a joint venture deal is an agreement between two people, and the returns can be anything that those people believe is worthwhile for them. I'm just so pushy when it comes to making sure that everybody wins. There is enough money in property. Property, it's just a fabulous vehicle for creating wealth. There's enough room to move for everyone. And I think everyone needs to go into these deals and not be greedy, not be, challenging somebody over a paintbrush that's just been thrown in the bin. But everybody needs to do their thing. They need to work it all out before they commence. Like not mid renovation, but everything needs to be done, signed, sealed, and packaged. and
Yeah.
before a really good property lawyer before they start. So that's joint ventures. Structuring the deal with the taxation implications in Australia right now is so important. I hear accountants saying, and this is not financial advice, don't sue me, but I hear accountants say to people, why don't you just go out and test to see if you like flipping for property? Go and do a property, make your profit, sell it fast, and then come back and see me if you get serious. And I think, why would you do that? Because you've just given a big chunk of your profit over in capital gains tax. And
Yeah.
for an accountant, if things are just done in someone's personal name and they just go about it like that without doing any research in the better alternatives or different alternatives to structuring, then your accountant actually doesn't have much room to move when it comes to minimizing tax.
Mm.
So I think that that's lazy tax advice. Or as a person who's approaching their accountant, they haven't said, this is it for me. I want to do more than one deal. Set me up for future deals, not just this one. So I think we've all got to communicate with each other about what we want, where we're heading, and what our big goals are.
Don't get yourself taken on a ride by property spookers, so-called property investment advisors, or buyer's agents who are selling house and land packages or off-the-plan properties or apartments. Get yourself a copy of this book called The Millennial's Guide to Property Investing. This book is not just for millennials. The title suggests, but it's actually the most advanced way of investing in property. This book will relate to your clients, your colleagues, and other business owners. There are so many property spookers out there who have come out of the woodwork over the last 3 to 5 years. And there is so much misinformation out there that I had to write a book about all the F-ups that people can actually avoid in order to be super successful in the property investment journey. Some of these are really easy to identify, but they are so costly to fix once these mistakes are made. So it's a short book, it's easy to read, it has a lot of stories, it has a lot of examples, and it is a true guide for people who wants to do it themselves. My name is Moxin Reza. This is my story, and a lot of you will relate to parts of this story if you're not born in the riches and if you're trying to build a property portfolio that can last generations and help you improve your lifestyle along the way. So I give you a chance to come out there and have a read. Be kind, stay safe, keep smiling, keep investing, and please do check out the book.
Tax and lending goes hand in hand, right? You need to have the right structure in place. So the lender talks to you and you're a golden child to the lender, but also you're a golden child to the taxman, right? So, one thing that I say this all the time is that the profit on the paper could be very little and the cash in the pocket could be a lot if you've structured properly and if you've done the right thing, right? So it's important to have a good accountant behind the scene. And of course, good lender that understands and the good structures that supports all of this.
Yeah, agree. Particularly, like I mentioned 2 seconds ago, if you want to do more than one, if you want to build a portfolio, it's everything. Setting up
Yep.
correctly and making every move a winner. We don't want to go backwards, especially when you're my age.
Yep.
Like young people have got a bit of chance. They can be a bit wilder. They've got time up their sleeve to make it up somewhere along the line. But when people are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, particularly in this environment, no one wants to go backwards.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to make every move a winner. It's crucial.
I heard one of the developers saying that the biggest regret in life was to not hold enough properties that they developed, or they would have done a lot better. And I would say that you can replicate that for renovations as well, where you know that the area is growing. It's not always about selling. Sometimes it's about refinancing, taking the money out, paying out, whoever the money partner is, and holding on to that asset and building the asset-based foundation plays a really big part in making the long game successful. Everyone thinks about the short game, right? Everyone wants to become a millionaire overnight, right? No one wants to become a millionaire slowly. Everyone wants to become a millionaire fast. So I think that's where the difference of the success and the failure comes into play.
Yeah, I think in property, we can do a lot in 12 months, particularly in the renovation space. But man, we can really hit goals in 5 years. And in 10 years, yeah, absolutely life changing if you hold on to the right properties along the line. And flipping alone is just a job. It's a job that you might enjoy more than going to work for a boss you don't like and gossips in the mailroom. But but in essence, it's just a job, and we're not after just jobs. We're after financial freedom and building a really nice wealth kit and passive income.
And that's where we will wrap part 1 of our renovation series with Help Me Buy Property podcast. We have covered the early days, the power of using other people's money, or the OPM. We've also talked about why structuring your finances like a business is crucial, and if you want to succeed in the renovation game, how does this all coming together? But we are just getting started. This is just a warm-up. In part 2, Belinda Smith and I will tackle the million-dollar questions like how GST really applies to flips and the myths around principal place of residence strategies and the smart ways to minimize tax without falling into the traps. You definitely don't want to miss out. Catch you in the part 2. Take care, stay safe, keep smiling, keep investing. This is Moss checking out. Adios.